There was once a young man within his early 20s who spent all of his time on his computer, on the internet. One night he was sitting there in his room with his lights turned off, arm propping his head up as he lazily read through countless websites. Suddenly he heard a countless sharp tapping sound from the hallway. The slow, dull clicking continued to disrupt his dreary state, similar to stiletto or tap shoe. Finally, as last nerve, he stood up and walked to the door to find the source of the tapping. But as he grasped the doorknob, a loud bang erupted from the outside of his door, which threw the man backwards in fear. Without delay, the tapping began once more outside his room. Instinctively, the man quickly locked the door, grabbed the phone, called the police. He began to dial 911. The phone rang. He nervously answered after 3 rings from the phone, despite no number given, and the answer was a dull hello. From the phone, he hears the same tapping from the outside, with the tapping outside. Both continued to tap for many seconds until they suddenly stopped. He quickly answered the fever hello. Shortly after, his loud burst of voice responds quietly, "You're going to die in this room." In a quick attempt to flee, he runs to the door, flings it open without delay. As the door opens, the entire hallway outside his room is coated with what seems like human blood, only illuminating by a bright light coming from the end of the hall. As he leaves his room, his only attempt at leaving is moving toward the light. Now was his only chance to leave. He sprinted to the light, but as he began to run, a sharp pain ran up his legs and began to slow his pace. As he walked, the tapping began speeding up and becoming louder. As he attempted to fight the pain in his legs, halfway up the hallway, his legs go numb and he falls to his stomach. Attempting to drag himself out, he notices what appears to be a sort of a crooked human figure that somehow stood on sharp pointed metal, gruesomely attached to the bloody nubs for his legs. The beast began to walk toward him, legs tapping against the floor below him. Each step the beast bellowed at a low grunt, seething in anger. The man attempted to swallow his tongue in a feeble attempt at suicide, with no other option before him. But before he knew it, the beast stood over him. 3 days later, the police came to investigate an awful smelling residing in his apartment, dried blood still painted on the walls. The police cautiously made their way to the man's room. When they opened his door, they only saw the man sitting at his computer with his arm propping his head up. The police called from the door, "Sir, are you all right?" The man remained still. They moved over to check him and spin his chair around. It was what can only be described coldly as mutilation. The man has 1,000 cuts all over his body, eyes removed with a large slate blade. A deep gush in his stomach showed his protruding large intestine. His throat cut several times and copious small amount of blood stains down his neck and torso, and 2 long steel blades sticking from his thighs, breaking his both femurs. Very few know what truly happened to this man, only that he never came out of it soon. I was gonna originally put this on my main YouTube channel. I'm gonna put this on my other YouTube channel because this is just fucked up.